Welcome to Darktopia, where shadows whisper and nightmares come to life. Tonight, we bring you a tale of horror that will send chills down your spine. Are you ready to step into the darkness? Let the terror begin. On a chilly Halloween night, a group of 5 friends, Jason, Mia, Lily, Alex, and Sam gathered in Jason's dimly lit basement, excitement buzzing in the air. The scent of burning candles mixed with the faint odor of popcorn, creating an atmosphere of eerie anticipation. They had decided to celebrate the spookiest night of the year by hosting a inspired by urban legends of the supernatural. The flickering candlelight danced against the walls, casting shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. As the clock struck midnight, they circled a small, round table, each clutching a piece of paper with a chant they had found online. Jason, the self-proclaimed leader, grinned mischievously. "Let's see if we can really contact any spirits tonight," he said, excitement lacing his voice. Mia rolled her eyes, still skeptical, but eager to join in on the fun. "This is just for laughs, right? There's no way this will actually work." With a collective nod, the group joined hands, and Jason began to recite the incantation. "Spirits of the night, hear our call. Open the door, let darkness fall." As they chanted, a chill swept through the room, causing the candles to flicker violently. The air thickened, charged with an unseen energy. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from the basement door, making everyone jump. They laughed nervously, attributing it to the wind, but deep down, a sense of unease crept in. Ignoring the warning signs, they continued to chant. With each repetition, the atmosphere grew heavier, and the shadows around them seemed to pulse and throb. Just as they reached the climax of the incantation, a gust of wind swept through the basement, extinguishing the candles and plunging them into darkness. Panic set in as they fumbled for their phones, the glow of their screens providing a small comfort in the encroaching shadows. "Did we just—" Sam stuttered, glancing around the now pitch-black room. Before anyone could answer, a low rumble filled the air, vibrating through the floor beneath them. A crack appeared in the wooden paneling, widening with each pulse of the ominous sound. The friends huddled closer, fear mounting as they realized they had indeed opened something far darker than they had anticipated. From the crack, an inky darkness began to seep into the room, swirling like smoke, but with a life of its own. It coalesced into a shape, an indistinct figure that hovered just beyond their reach. "What have you done?" A voice echoed from the shadows, chilling their bones. It was a whisper at first, but as they looked closer, they could make out ghastly faces forming within the darkness, mouths twisted in silent screams. "Let's get out of here," Mia screamed, yanking at the other's arms, but the fear held them in place, entranced by the horror unfolding before them. "No, we can't just leave it like this," Jason shouted back, his bravado slipping away as he took a step closer to the dark figure. "We have to close the portal." But the shadows responded, slithering toward him, wrapping around his ankles like living tendrils. As the darkness tightened its grip, the others finally broke free from their stupor. They turned to the basement door, but it had vanished, replaced by an impenetrable wall of shadow. "What do we do?" Alex shouted, panic rising in his voice. The whispers grew louder, filling the air with a cacophony of torment and despair. Lily, trembling, remembered a part of the chant that spoke of closing the portal. "We have to reverse it. Everyone, hold hands and repeat after me." She took a deep breath, her voice shaking as she began to recite the words. "Spirits of the night, we mean no harm. Close the door and raise the alarm." The others joined in, their voices trembling but determined. As they recited the incantation, the darkness writhed in anger, a powerful force pushing against them. The shadows shrieked, a cacophony of lost souls wailing in protest. For every word they spoke, the figure before them grew more defined, its face twisted with rage. It reached out, claw-like hands stretching toward Jason, who stood frozen in terror. "Don't let go!" Mia cried, squeezing Lily's hand tighter. They repeated the chant, each word resonating with a desperate plea. Slowly, the darkness began to retract, the inky tendrils pulling away from Jason as the air hummed with a surge of energy. The shadows shrieked louder, a whirlwind of agony echoing in the confined space. With one final push, they shouted the last words of the incantation in unison. "Close the door and set us free." The room erupted in a blinding light, a surge of warmth washing over them as the darkness recoiled, swirling back into the crack that had formed in the wall. The figure's face contorted in fury, and with a final scream that shook the very foundation of the house, it vanished into the crack, which sealed shut with a resounding boom. Gasping for breath, the friends stood in the sudden silence, the oppressive weight lifted from the air. The basement was dark, but the tension had dissipated, leaving them feeling strangely liberated. Jason, shaken but relieved, turned to the others. "We did it. We really did it." Mia, still trembling, looked at him incredulously. "We almost didn't," she whispered, the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "What was that thing?" "I don't know," Jason replied, glancing back at the wall where the darkness had been. "But I don't think it's gone for good." As they left the basement, the chill of the night air greeted them. But it felt different, now less threatening, more like a soft embrace. The friends huddled together, whispering about what had just happened, their laughter breaking the tension that lingered. Yet, deep inside, they knew they had tampered with something far beyond their understanding. The next day, the town buzzed with Halloween festivities, the streets filled with laughter and joy. Yet the group couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. As they roamed the neighborhood, they noticed strange occurrences, shadows that seemed to linger longer than they should, whispers carried by the wind, and the faint sound of laughter echoing just out of reach. Days turned into weeks, and the memories of that night haunted them, a shadow over their everyday lives. One evening, as they gathered at a local diner, Jason pulled out his phone, scrolling through the videos they had recorded during the "Look," he said, pointing to a frame that froze the scene just as the darkness engulfed them. In the corner of the screen, a faint figure lingered, barely discernible but undeniably there. Lily gasped, her face pallid. "It's still watching us." As they continued to analyze the footage, they realized the shadows seemed to shift and swirl, forming shapes that danced at the edges of their vision. It was as if the portal had opened a door they could not see, and the darkness was now part of their world. From that day on, the friends carried the weight of their actions, living with the knowledge that they had unlocked something ancient and malevolent. On Halloween nights, they would gather in quiet remembrance, sharing tales of the dark portal, a cautionary story for others who might dare to venture too close to the unknown. As they looked up at the night sky, they could almost hear the echoes of laughter and the soft whispers of the dark spirits, forever lingering just beyond the veil of the living, waiting for the next curious souls to awaken them from their slumber. You've made it through the darkness, for now. But remember, the shadows are always watching. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next story that haunts the night. Until next time, sleep, if you can.